So if new construction is even kinda on your radar in 2026, this video is about to make your life way easier. Dallas is gearing up to drop some legit heavy hitters this year, with brand new communities opening their doors, fresh phases launching, and a few surprise developments that are finally bringing something different to the table. My job today is simple, guys. Break down what's coming in 2026, show you which spots are actually worth paying attention to, and help you stay one step ahead before those other neighborhoods hit the market and everybody else starts scrambling. So let's kick this off up in Salina, guys, because Ramble by Hillwood is the kind of community that pops up once every few years and immediately makes you go, okay, that's a little different. Now know this, right? Hillwood, this is going to be the same crew behind the Harvest, Pecan Square, and all those insanely well-planned communities, and it's going to be dropping this brand new master plan project right off the Dallas North Tollway expansion. And the timing of all this, just a chef's kiss, baby. Early 2026 is when the doors are going to swing wide open. All right, now here's the part that really matters. Ramble is built around the whole live outside type of lifestyle. We're talking about huge trail systems, tons of green space, community nodes, and all the intentional Hillwood walkability that they're famous for. It's giving, I actually want to leave my house type of energy, which for Texans is saying something. And detail number 2 to pay attention here is the tollway extension is literally pulling right up to the neighborhood, guys. When that access road finishes, guys, it changes Salina's entire community map, right? People who never thought they'd move that far north, they start suddenly sliding into my DMs talking about, hey, what's that Ramble place you mentioned a few days ago? Ramble is basically Salina's next big anchor community, and it's gonna be leading the class in 2026. But the great thing is I'm nowhere close to done because I have 10 more spots to show you. You didn't think I was only gonna show you Salina and call it a day, right? Come on now. You guys know me better than that by now. But before we drop down south into Grand Prairie and Midlothian, and trust me, 2026 is about to get real interesting down there. If this is your first time to the channel, I'm Mark with the Dallas Relocation Guide, and we help people buy, sell, and relocate right here to the Dallas Metroplex, guys. Listen, I know you've been watching other realtors are trying to sell you on the house and try to sell you on the features. It's pretty much sell, sell, sell. Whereas we just want to give you all the information that you need to be able to make the best decision for you and your family. So if you're thinking about making a move and need our help, guys, feel free to reach out. All of our contact info is down in the description below and pinned to the top of the chat. We've got the tools, the maps, the builder scoop, and every resource you need to figure out the right neighborhood, the right lifestyle fit, and the best deals on all the new homes. So now let's talk about Lake Song. Oh, Lake Song. Because this one, guys, it's not your typical throw some houses on some dirt and call it a day. Lake Song is going to feel more like the developer said, what if nature was the main character? And then just ran with it. Instead of leading with a big clubhouse or some giant splash park moment, Lake Song is building, I said building, an entire community around the lake's wooded corridors and these long connected trail systems that actually make sense. Not the 0.3 miles around the retention pond type of trail, guys. We're talking about the real stuff. And here's the part I need you to really catch on to. Lake Song is gonna be massive. This thing spans almost 3,000 acres with plans for roughly 5,000 homes over time. We're talking about multiple builders, multiple product lines, and yes, even a Del Webb village tucked inside the 55+ crowd. So whether you're a first-time buyer, a move-up buyer, or a I'm tired and need peace type of buyer, there's probably a lane for you in this neighborhood. But what's the real reason that Lake Song really matters in 2026? And that's gonna be this whole 287 corridor between Grand Prairie and Midlothian, which is gonna be one of the most quietly strategic locations in all of DFW. Guys, you can get to Dallas, you can get to Fort Worth, and you don't have to mortgage your soul away to do it. Once these first lots drop in 2026, Lake Song is gonna give the South Side a whole new type of identity. Okay, so let's touch on Goodland because we talked about this on a couple other videos. And listen, this one is just gonna be a whole different type of beast. Most communities are like, yo, here's 400 acres, enjoy your cul-de-sac. But Goodland, this one pulled up and said, nah, let's build an entire mini city. And this thing is gonna be 5,000 acres. 10,000 future homes and a whole ecosystem of parks, schools, trails, retail, and civic space that's gonna be baked right into the blueprint. But here's what makes this all the real deal, guys. 1,600 acres of this is gonna be preserved creek corridors and floodplain green space. And no, that's not a typo, right? That's more green space than most towns around the DFW metro, even if they had access to it. The trail network alone is expected to stretch around 25 miles once it's fully built out, and 2026 is when the puzzle pieces start clicking into place. Goodland Parkway is going to be the big connector road between 287 and 67, and that's finally going to take shape. And the first early villages, guys, those starter pods inside the larger mega plan, they begin to roll out in 26 as well. This one is going to be that type of long game energy, right? You got to think about this 5 to 10 years down the road, but I'm mentioning it for those of you who like to get in early. So now let's swing over back east and head over out to California, because Meraki is one of those communities where you can already tell that the developers, they had a mood board when they made this. And it wasn't the typical master plan Texas subdivision number 147. It's more like, let's build a community people actually want to walk in. Meraki is going to be about 1,100 acres, but the layout feels way more intentional than it does massive. They designed this thing around green threads, right? Long linear parks, pocket greens, and those short neighbor-friendly street blocks that make you feel way more human than the average Texas sprawl. And the two heavy hitters for this community is going to be 70 acres of lakes and a trail system that keeps every home within 5 minutes of a green space. And listen, that's not just marketing stuff, guys. That's real design discipline. You're also going to recognize the builders over here: American Legend, Perry, Highland, and more coming into the fold as we speak. And the pricing here is going to start in the high 300s and go up to about the 7 or 8s. Listen, Forney stays as one of the best value plays in the Metroplex, and Meraki really leans into that without cutting corners. 2025 is when they technically open, but 26 is when buyers really are going to get those options: more lots, more builders, and more floor plans, and that's going to also mean more momentum. All right, so let's keep going and push just a little bit farther east, because Terra Nova in Terrell is one of the biggest projects in the Metroplex that nobody's even talking about. And honestly, that's kind of crazy, because the thing is going to be massive. Terra Nova is going to be a 1,600-acre, multi-billion-dollar master plan community that basically turns the east side of Dallas into its own next chapter. This isn't just a neighborhood, it's a 20-year build-out. It's going to be a slow burn. It's going to be a future city, right? But here's where 2026 comes into play, guys. The infrastructure, it kicks into a higher gear, right? The roads, the utilities, all the early site work, and all that unsexy but critical groundwork, that's getting laid as we speak. And most importantly, 2026 is when they start rolling out the builder announcements, right? Guys, once the builder roster drops, you finally get real visibility on price points, product types, and the first villages that are coming to fruition. The two biggest things that's going to make Terra Nova stand out is, number one, going to be the scale, right? When a community stretches across 1,600 acres, you're not just getting homes, guys. You're getting retail, parks, trails, schools, and the whole ecosystem. And number two is going to be the positioning, right? Terrell is one of the last major east of Dallas corridors with space, affordability, and the ability to actually absorb a project this size. Once these pieces lock in, this becomes the community where you look back and go, dang, we should have gotten in early. Terra Nova is not opening its parade of model homes in 2026, but 2026 is the year the curtain lifts and you can finally see what this community is going to become. All right, so follow me up north to Bonham, guys, because Powder Creek Ranch is one of those communities the average buyer probably hasn't heard about yet, but the early groundwork is already telling us a story. This one sits on a big stretch of land on the north side of Lake Bonham, and the whole community is built around outdoor living, open space, and the quiet but close enough type of lifestyle people are suddenly chasing right now. And two big reasons Powder Creek Ranch matters in 2026. Guys, phase 1 construction officially kicks off late 2026, and that means the roads, the utilities, and the foundation of the first neighborhoods, they're gonna start to take shape. And the location, yeah, it's sneaky good, guys, with the lake, with the new investment coming in the bottom, and the fact that so many buyers are trying to get ahead of the next affordable pocket. It's definitely early, but the upside is real. And for those of you who are still with me, if you're watching and planning a move in 2026, guys, let me know in the comments or drop any questions that you have about the new construction in these areas. I'll read your comments and answer you personally, and we'll see what you guys think. All right, quick question. Have you even ever heard of Van Alstyne, Texas? Because Mantua is making some quiet moves going into 2026, and I don't want you sleeping on this one. It's an already established, gorgeous, well-planned community with one of the strongest small-town school districts in the Metroplex, but the next big residential phase is what makes 2026 really interesting. The builder lineup up there is stacked, right? Highland Homes is rolling out the new 40 and 50-foot product. Perry Homes is expanding their 50 and 60-foot offerings. American Legend is adding updated floor plans, and Megatel continues building more attainable price options. With this new phase, Mantua is also stitching in more trails, more pocket parks, improved internal roads, and early groundwork for its future retail village. And it's not going to be anything too overhyped, guys. It's just going to be a solid community paired with clean design, strong schools, and pricing that still gives buyers breathing room compared to Prosper and McKinney. 2026 is the year people start realizing Mantua isn't just promising, it's actually leveling up. All right, so let's head back out west, because Walsh Ranch is about to make a statement in 2026, and it's the kind of move that changes the whole energy of a community. Guys, Walsh Ranch has always had that premium master plan type of vibe to it. The architecture is going to be super clean, the amenities are legit, and the layout, it just feels intentional instead of the usual suburban copy and paste that you see around the metro sometimes. But in 2026, that's when Walsh gets the stamp of Texas approval, its own freaking HEB. Yeah, this is not a drill, guys. HEB is literally rolling in with the full setup, guys. You're gonna get the fuel station hitting mid-2026, the main store targeting late 2026, and if you've lived in Texas longer than 5 minutes, guys, you know what this means. HEB doesn't just show up anywhere, guys. They show up where the growth is real, the money is moving, and the rooftops aren't slowing down. Yeah, when HEB plants its flag, it's saying, yeah, this area isn't just booming, it's a ride. And Walsh Ranch is definitely ready for all of it, guys. You're gonna have builders like Highland, David Weekley, Village Homes, and a few boutique locals that are already carving out more pockets in new sections. You've got new parks filling in, more trails coming online, and that slow drip of commercial paths that are gonna be activating. We're talking about a coffee shop here, an office building there, all the things that shift the community from just a nice place to live to a small city with its own little rhythm. Walsh doesn't really need the hype. It just quietly stacks wins until you look around and go, damn, this place really became something special. In 2026, this is that exact moment. All right, so let's switch gears and slide into something just a little bit smaller, quieter, and a whole lot more curated. Guys, Prestonwood by Toll Brothers? This one isn't a mega city. It's not trying to compete with 5,000-acre giants. This is Toll Brothers doing what it does best. A boutique luxury pocket where every street feels intentional. Prestonwood is going to sit right on that McKinney-Weston edge, and that's going to be the corridor that everybody keeps whispering about because it's the next clean growth line above Prosper. In 2026 is when the place finally steps onto the stage. The model homes are landing in 26, bringing in Toll's signature architecture, guys. Oversized windows, killer elevations, warm modern interiors, and floor plans that actually feel custom. This community is small on purpose, right? Fewer homes, bigger lots, quiet streets, and it's all about the quality here. The lineup usually includes premium 60 and 70-foot products, guys, multi-gen options where your in-laws have their own space, and those 3,000 to 4,500 square foot homes with the dramatic two-story spaces that they're famous for. It's basically the anti-mega master plan community. You get the privacy, the breathing room, and that upscale Toll Brothers aesthetic without being buried in thousands of rooftops. It's perfect for the buyer who wants new construction but refuses to blend in at the same time. All right, now let's swing back down into Goodland, but this time we're not talking about the full 5,000-acre city within a city vision, guys. We're zooming into the first real livable pieces of it, guys, the early villages. These are going to be the small pods, the stuff actual buyers are going to be able to touch and tour in 2026. Guys, these first neighborhoods inside Goodland are where the whole project finally stops being a map and starts being a community. I want you to think tight, walkable pockets, new streets, early parks, and the first wave of builders stepping onto the dirt. And because this is the pilot phase, you're gonna see a lot of intentionality here. We're talking about cleaner streetscapes, early proof of concept amenities, and builder product designed to set the tone for the next decade. You're gonna see 40, 50, maybe even 60-foot lot products, depending on which builders officially sign on here. Based on this developer's history, guys, and the scale of what Goodland's gonna be, I want you to expect a lineup similar to other big Texas MPCs. We're talking about Highland, Perry, American Legend, maybe even Bloomfield or Tri-Point. Now look, none of this is confirmed yet, but the pattern is always strong. And the thing that makes these early villages worth watching is really simple, right? They're the ground floor of a future monster. If you get in early, you ride all the upside as all the parks, the trails, the retail, and that brand new Goodland Parkway connector, it fills out all around you. In 2026, that equals the first rooftops. 2027 to 2030, that equals the boom. So if you want that early adopter energy inside a huge master plan, guys, Goodland's first villages are where all that starts. All right, so we've been deep in the big master plans, but now we're jumping straight into Frisco, where things move different. They're gonna be faster, they're gonna be louder and more competitive. And right in the middle of all of that heat, guys, Prestonwood Grove by Toll Brothers. Now they're rolling out their fresh 70-foot phase in 2026, and this isn't a starter community by any means. This is gonna be elevated, polished, PGA corridor living. You're basically tucked between the $500 million PGA campus, the Fields boom, and some of the best schools in the entire state. And when the builder like Toll Brothers decides to drop a new phase in an area this premium, it usually means two things. Demand is insane and the product is even better. The 2026 release should bring larger lots. You're gonna get the fresh floor plan packages and the updated architectural series. I want you to think 3,000 to 5,000 square feet of luxury homes, right? New elevations built around all this modern luxe trend. You're gonna get some of those multi-gen suites, the oversized kitchens, and those massive sliders, guys. All of the stuff Toll knows their Frisco buyers want. But the real play here, inventory in this part of Frisco is rare, like crypto in 2012 rare. When a new phase opens up in this area, guys, it disappears faster than people think. So keeping this one on your radar is smart if you want the space, you want the schools, and you want that Frisco prestige without battling resale bidding wars. I mean, 2026, it isn't bringing a new city here, just a new opportunity in one of the tightest markets in North Texas. All right, so this next one's got a different flavor entirely, guys. We're heading up to Gunter, right? And I know you probably never heard about this. And this is gonna be where things are still wide open. They're gonna be quiet, and honestly, it's kind of underrated. And that's exactly why Platinum Ranch is interesting, guys. It's not going to be loud, it's not going to be polished, it's not pretending to be Frisco 2.0, but it is gearing up to drop its first real phases in 2026. And for people who watch growth patterns, they're already paying attention. Platinum Ranch is one of those communities that sits right in the path of the Preston Road boom, guys, just north of Prosper and Solana, where everything is expanding year over year over year. The draw here is going to be really simple. You get the space, you get more land, you're going to have those bigger lots, fewer neighbors, right? And you get that calmer pace than the mega neighborhoods to the south. I want you to expect the early phases to lean into the larger lots. You're going to get that country modern architecture and that mid to upper tier builders stepping in as the infrastructure starts to wrap up. Gunter School District, yeah, it's small, but it's strong, guys. And this whole area is getting pulled upward by all the investment and the development pressure that's rushing towards Lake Texoma. This is a spot for the buyer who wants new construction, but doesn't want congestion, noise, or an HOA breathing down their neck every 5 minutes. It's going to be that early stage. It's still forming, and that's the point of it all. This is the ground floor window in a high growth corridor. Gunter today looks like Prosper looked about a decade ago. And history doesn't always repeat, but in North Texas, it sure does rhyme. All right, so we covered a lot, so let me give you a lightning fast timeline of what's actually happening in 26 so you can keep everything straight, guys. Ramble up in Solana is kicking things off with the model homes opening in early 2026. Lake Song down in Grand Prairie and Midlothian is releasing the first lots and builders throughout the year. Goodland is pushing forward with early villages and that big Goodland Parkway connection in 2026 as well. Meraki out in Pawnee, that technically opens late 2025, but 2026 is when buyers really get a full access and the momentum that starts to pick up. Terra Nova over in Terrell is spending 2026 locking in the infrastructure and rolling out its first builder announcements. First Ranch, it hits some major infrastructure milestones in 2026 as that huge project starts to take shape. Walsh out in West Fort Worth, that gets a brand new HEB in 2026, which is basically like strapping a rocket to the entire community. Mantua, it brings in the next wave of amenities like Banyan Park breaking ground in 2026 as well. Prestonwood by Toll Brothers, it unveils its first luxury models in 2026 as that boutique community comes online. Inside of Goodland, the smaller villages also start releasing select sections in 2026. And then up in Frisco, Prestwood Grove, it drops a new 70-foot luxury phase in 2026 right by the PGA corridor. And finally, Platinum Ranch in Gunter opens its early phases in 2026 as utilities and the land workups, they start to wrap up their construction. Guys, this certainly isn't everything coming in 2026, but I wanted to show you some of the spots that no one else is. 12 communities, 12 different vibes, and a whole lot happening across the DFW in 2026. Some of these spots are massive, city-shaping master plans, some are boutique neighborhoods opening up quiet pockets of opportunity, and some are the early phases that only the people paying attention even know exist yet. Whether you're chasing a brand new build or just want the right house in the right neighborhood at the right time, my team and I can help you find whatever you're looking for right here in the DFW, guys. New construction definitely is our bread and butter, but we don't stop there, guys. If it's out here in the DFW, we can help you track it down and make sense of all the moving parts. So if any of these 2026 communities got your wheels turning, guys, or if you've got questions about builders, timing, incentives, resale alternatives, all of our contact info's down in the description below and pinned to the top of the chat. Guys, reach out when you're ready. We'd love to be your real estate team of choice. And for those of you who are still in those early phases of figuring out if Dallas is going to be your next move in the first place, we created whole playlists that you can binge watch like Netflix, and you can check those out right there.